Hi guys, I'm back. So last time we talked about the iron cores in the bobbins, and I said that we would probably go and look at how the coils were wound. So I sort of started with making the coils. As you can see, it is a big mess. Remember, this is the coil winder, which I actually only use to hold the coils or the spools, the source spools basically. And I didn't feel like standing in the hallway for 8 of these coils, so I sort of decided maybe I should make some sort of winding jig. Also because I don't think it's that necessary to measure every coil perfectly, like on the meter. So I started winding the first coil in this way, and I ran into some problems. So I had to make some adjustments. Basically, I started with this idea, like there's just a bearing with, a bolt in there, and that would make it spin freely like that. On the other side, I had the same. It's just that this way it has no grip, so I decided to add this thing in here so that it can get some grip. And I think there still needs to be a bottom plate so that it doesn't, shift around like that. So I sort of want to make that today. And yeah, then the first coil is not done, but at least I find a better winding jig to make these 8 coils quicker. Alright, so I started winding this first coil with a lot of trouble. And also the super tiny trigger wire sort of broke. And that's basically because these things are pretty loose in here and get stuck on one another, and it's troublesome. So I have to sort of find a way to stabilize it in there. I sort of want to cut this additional piece of plastic off so that it'll be smooth in there. And for this one, remember, these coils were shipped broken. I sort of decided to make it like this so that the coil doesn't go onto the holder rod, whatever. But this makes it so that it wants to keep falling down like that, and that also doesn't help the smaller trigger wire. So here's one of those, and I decided to use some foam, for example, and that'll keep it in the middle. So that's what I'm up to now. And hopefully we can get this done today, and then we can also have a look at how that works with winding the coil. So see you soon. So here you can see the foam holding up the source spool in place, so that it doesn't move on the rod. That sort of works. And here's the other idea about the smaller coils. I sort of cut out the extra pieces of plastic and put an aluminum tube in between with some foam as well to keep it in place so that it can still, go on the rod, but also still twist, because these rotations will be different from the bigger ones. So here we are, the spools are installed again, and as you can see they can spin nicely. Okay, this one is still a bit sloppy. This one I just decided to leave it loose because it doesn't go jump like that. And this manual coil winder jig also looks a lot better. You can see the locking sort of nut there stops it from, the thing come loose here. And also a bottom plate with a sort of weight on it, so it's much less likely to move, and you can really now pull with the handle here without it losing traction. So the idea now is to wind a little bit of the trigger coil, a couple of layers like here, because it's very thin wire and it's very close to the iron, so the induction will be strong as well. And then on top we will sort of wind the power winding also together with the trigger winding, just to get a little bit more trigger coil voltage on there. Let's see how that goes. So this is what I'm talking about. The small trigger wire can now take up a lot more turns than when wound with the big power wires. And it doesn't take that much space on, you know, where normally the power wires would go directly onto the iron. Now there's a trigger wire layer in between. So right, so I'm about halfway on the second layer, and it sort of broke. So one of the wires is broken. It's still nice. You can see the line I drew with the permanent marker. That's a good idea, because then you can see if you're fully covering the, you know, next layer. Well, this one's broken, so I'll probably unwind it. Otherwise, I'll have to solder it. It will look ugly. So yeah, I think this is for another day. Anyhow, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.